that she got, do you know, okay, sidebar, do you know how Taylor Swift's, oh, here's Luca, that little black cat. I'm a little bit scared after reading. Again, like I said, I only just figured out what was going on like 20 pages ago. You know when something starts with how many loves you get in a lifetime, you know that is gonna be amazing quotes about life and love and it's gonna make you emotional. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. Welcome to one of many exciting fall reading vlogs. Our first fall themed reading vlog. I have the window open if you hear the birds, but it's just like a perfect Saturday morning when the breeze is blowing in. It's just like that crisp air that tells you that fall is coming, so I had to open the windows. So if you hear that, that's what that is. But welcome to the second time of me doing this video. We are going to be looking at our September TBR, which is right here, reading the highest and lowest rated book on my September TBR. And I'm excited because this means we're going to be 2 books closer to finishing our September TBR. And for the record, it's only the first weekend of September, and I'm already almost halfway done with one of these books. So one book Girl brought is not here because I'm halfway through it already. So we are going to be using the remaining 7 books here. I did this video like was it last year or earlier this year? And I thought it was such a fun way to get through my monthly TBR. I don't really always pay attention to ratings before I read a book. Actually, I never really pay attention to ratings before I read a book because I don't want it to influence how I feel about the book. So I'm a little bit scared going into this that it's going to influence like the lowest rated book and that's going to influence my reading experience with it. Probably still going to be a good rating because these are all like relatively popular books, I think. So as of when I'm filming this, ratings of our remaining 7 books are here. The Coven is 3.84. The Love of My Afterlife is 4.17. Into the Dark is 4.40. I have a feeling this is going to be the highest rated one just because it's Magnolia Parks. 7 Year Slip is 4.22. The Gilded Cage is 4.28. One Dark Window is 4.30. 5 Survive is 4.08. Honestly, they're all in the 4-star range. They're all decent books, I think. If you didn't see my September TBR, I chose all fall themed books or things that sort of just gave me the summer into fall feeling. It looks like our lowest rated book, The Coven by Harper L. Woods. Our highest rated book is, as predicted, Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. So guys, we are reading this book in this video. This book is gonna finally, I got a call, hold on. Okay, hey, we're back. I don't remember what we were saying, but I think we were saying that Magnolia Parks is the top rated one. That is no surprise to me. That is what I thought. I'm so excited to finally dig into this. I feel like I might do lowest rated and then highest rated because I don't want to, like, this one's just gonna affect me so much. I don't know if I'll be able to read this book after reading Magnolia and BJ's final story. So I think I'm gonna save this for the second book we're gonna read. The first book we're gonna read is gonna be The Coven. This is a new release, I'm pretty sure, and it's a book that I picked up relatively recently, mainly because it was called The Coven and it gave me a lot of fall vibes, but also because of the beautiful sprayed edges. And I don't know what it's about, but the first step for me is always taking off the dust jacket. It looks like it's a dark fantasy. Ooh. Look at that page of trigger warnings and content warnings. It's a dark paranormal romance with gothic vibes in a dark academia setting. I'm a little bit scared after reading the trigger warnings. We'll see. Okay, you know what? We'll just see. We're going to read our lowest rated book on Goodreads, which is still a relatively high rating, 3.84 I think it was. Yeah, let's get to reading this one. So the female main character's name is Willow. The male main character's name is Gray. Very like witchy names, I feel like. I appreciate that. You think that she got, do you know, okay, sidebar, do you know how Taylor Swift's, oh, Here's Luca, my little black cat. You know how Taylor Swift's Willow music video was like about witches? I wonder if that's where she got the name Willow from. How fun would that be? This is a whole world. It's a whole magic system. Hold on. There's this, after the trigger content warnings, the extensive trigger content warnings page, there's this Legacies of Crystal Hollow. And there's different types of witches. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 types of witches. And they're all like crystal witches, House Petra, House Beltran, like crystal witches, also known as whites, and these are their houses. And then cosmic witches, also known as purples. So I think that's kind of fun. Oh, Luca wants to get outside. I think that's kind of a fun magic system to have like different types of witches. There's crystal witches, cosmic witches, earth witches, air witches, water witches, desire witches, fire witches, and necromancy witches. I think this will be fun. Okay, I'm feeling all the fall vibes already too. It is a Dark Academia setting, and I feel like I've been really into Dark Academia lately, so I'm excited. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to a new day. I am already on I'm on chapter 30, page 209 in the Coven, and this is a small book also, by the way. But the reason why I haven't updated you up until this point is because I don't think I understood what was going on up until probably 20 to 50 pages ago. But now I have updates for you because now I know what's going on more. First I want to say is like the perfect Halloween book. It's the perfect fall time book. It gives all of the fall Dark Academia feelings, which I think that is like my favorite genre, like the Dark Academia fantasy version. Because this is about witches and vessels, which I think are essentially vampires. Again, like I said, I only just figured out what was going on like 20 pages ago. That's like the two like supernatural beings that are our two main point of views, our two main characters in this book. It just is giving all of the fall and Halloween vibes, and I'm obsessed with it and I want to keep reading it, but I realized I haven't updated you like at all yet. So I thought I'd just go ahead and quickly do that. First of all, we have two point of views. We have Willow, who is our witch, and we have Gray, who is our vessel, vampire. Essentially. This takes place in a school. So the school is called Hollows Grove, and the place the school's in, like the city, is called Crystal Hollow. First of all, those are just beautifully amazing fantasy names. Like, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with those two names. In Crystal Hollow, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 legacies, types of witches. There are the crystal witches, known as whites, with House Petra and House Beltran, cosmic witches known as purples, House Rialta and House Amar. So there are all these different types of elements, and they each go with a color. The only ones that we really hear about is the earth witches, also known as greens, which is House Mediza and House Bray. Willow's mom just died, and because she just died, she became known to the Coven, which are basically like the school board, I guess. They want her to come to Crystal Hollow and to come to Hollows Grove School to learn about witches and help preserve the magic and all that stuff. And she's the last of the Mediza line. There's only 2 houses in the Mediza line, House Bray and two houses in the green line, the earth witches. It's confusing. And one's House Mediza and one's House Bray. And she is the last of the Mediza line, so she comes on, she gives them a big fight. She hates what the Coven has turned into. She hates what they teach about magic. Her mom, unbeknownst to them, has been teaching her like actual like old magic that is better, I guess, and it's more of like a symbiotic relationship between the earth and the witches, whereas now the witches, like humans, I think it's a commentary on humans, are just taking from the earth and not giving anything back. So that's what the school teaches, and Willow hates that, so she is just putting up a fight every chance that she gets. But they like force her to come here, or else they would like kill her little brother or something. It was really bad. Then there's Gray. That's our other point of view. He's a vessel. He's the headmaster of the school. I am picturing him as Damon Salvatore because Ian Somerhalder has crystal blue eyes, dark hair. That's how Gray is described. That's who I'm picturing in my head, and I'm obsessed with it. It's a love story between those two, but it's definitely like an enemies to lovers type thing. Well, first of all, Willow gives him a fight every step of the way, gives everyone a fight every step of the way, and it's like, you guys aren't teaching these young witches how to exist with magic, you're teaching them how to like conquer magic, and that's not good, essentially. But unbeknownst to the Coven and Gray and everyone else, The Black Line are like the necromancers. They thought that they died out 50 years ago. Turns out no one knows it but her. And then she comes with a mission to take down the coven, essentially. I won't go into super details. So that's her like secret mission she's like operating under. And I love the descriptions of how she does magic in this world. Like, so she's an earth witch, so the trunks rise up to catch her when she falls, and when she gets a cut, she can grab dirt and rub it on her cut and the earth heals her, you know? It's like cool stuff like that, and it's very much like you find out that it's a very symbiotic relationship between her and the earth, where she's learned like the old ways of like respecting the earth and not just taking and not giving anything back. That is the basic plot summary. It is spicy. I got to a little bit of a spicy scene. It is also just so good. Like, I really like Harper L. Wood's storytelling in this book, honestly. And also the coven, which are like witches, are like literally skeletons. Like, they're like skeletons described as like some of their skin is already off and it's just like bone, and some of the skin is like decaying. And it sounds entirely gruesome, but again, so spooky, so Halloween. I think I'm obsessed with this book for Halloween. That's where we're at right now, and it is a very complicated magic system and world that Harper L. Woods has built in this book. That is the gist of what I'm getting. I'm liking this book a lot, honestly. It is our lowest rated book in this video. It's still really good, I think, but we'll see, because I am on page 208, so I think I have about like a little less than 100 pages left. So we're gonna finish that. I'm gonna have a lot more updates for you as we go through, because someone told me that like things just go crazy and the second half of the book, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, that's the coven. I'm also liking your two point of views, Willow's and Gray's point of view. I think that it adds more to the story. Also, the vessels and the witches need each other to live and exist, even though they hate each other. That's why he's the headmaster, even though the witches and the vessels are like natural enemies. We just got a very much reminding me of Fourth Wing scene where they're like sparring and training, and then Gray steps in. It's like there's also this like other love interest, and of course she's not the main one, but Gray steps in and is like, the way you're training her, she'll die within a second. Like, you need to actually train her. And he steps in and is all like hard on her, but there's like that tension underlying, you know what I mean. Father also seems like a terrible person. Okay, so this is what I mean by it's the perfect spooky book. Listen to this paragraph that I just read, because it's just giving such Halloween vibes and I'm obsessed with it. She hears like a sound of someone saying her name when she's in the bathtub. And it says, I sat up straight all over again, water sloshing as I grabbed the edge of the tub. Branches scraped against the window outside, startling me as I spun to glance at it. Silence reigned, claiming the bathroom as I held perfectly still. I swallowed, raising a hand to clutch my mother's amulet. The voice continued, a slow, drawn-out murmur that barely resonated with words. So spooky! I love it. I am on page 252, and we just got our first, I don't know if you can see that, but our first mention of our sequel book, The Cursed. He just sort of explained to her who the cursed are. I am guessing that they're gonna entwine with them again in the second book. A lot of things are happening right now, and it's so good. Like, it's so spooky, but it's so good. Like, I'm loving the storyline, and I honestly really like her writing, Harper L. Woods' writing. I feel like it's so, like, descriptive, and there are some really good quotes in here. I do really thoroughly am enjoying reading this book. I've been going between like audiobook and this book on my like commute to work and everything. And this might be a like 4.5 star book. I am really loving the story, and I haven't felt in a while like I couldn't put a book down, and that's how I feel with this book. So it's making me very happy. We're gonna keep reading, but we are quickly drawing things to a close. It's time. Oh my goodness. Why does this feel like such like a monumentous moment? You guys, I can't believe I'm about to do this. I'm about to... This is dramatic, but it's really not. Like, this is truthfully how I feel. Okay, okay. You guys don't understand. This is my absolute favorite series of all time. Okay, let's do it. I forgot that that happened. Wow. Hello everyone, we have updates. Okay, so first of all, welcome to the new little fall area. We have our Halloween blanket out. We have our pumpkin, can you see? Our pumpkin lanyard with our little twinkly lights. I also have some leaf lights all over the place, and it's just, my boyfriend walked in from work today and I had our low light fall lights and the candles are going and like a fireplace on the TV, and he was like, yes, this is so cozy. I love it. I love it too. We are ready for fall here, but this is not a fall reading vlog. This is a highest and lowest ratings on Goodreads for my TBR vlog. We have updates on Miss Magnolia Parks, but first I want to talk about The Coven, because I don't think that I ever really wrapped that up. I did finish it like a few days ago. It was really good. It's my lowest rated book on my TBR, which gives me a lot of hope for this month's TBR, because I loved that book. Like, it was so good, and I didn't want to go into the second book right away. I loved the whole concept, the ending, and someone told me on one of my last videos, they commented like, I love The Coven, but wait until you hear the end, like wait until you read the ending. And so that got me excited, and then when I did read the ending, I thought of that comment and I was like, oh my god, she was so right. That ending was so good. It's just like not at all really what I expected, and sets up the next book very well. It answered a lot of questions from the first book, but also introduced a lot more questions, which I feel like is the perfect way to end the first book of a duology. So I definitely want to read the second book, which I think is called The Cursed, soon. How it was a dark academia setting, but also had to do with like vessel / vampire and witches. There was so much action that happened, and it was very spooky. Like, I feel like it was a good read for this time of year because it was spooky. Like, there was just some scenes that literally I had like chills. And that is the makings of a good fall book. I can't believe that's my lowest rated book on my TBR, because I gave it like, I think like a solid 4 stars, because it was really good. It made me want to continue the series and I enjoyed reading it. I do recommend The Coven, especially for this time of year. Also, the way that it kind of wrapped up Willow and Gray's perspectives and just answered the questions that we had about them, and how they introduced, I think his name was Ash. What happened with Ash at the end? Oh my goodness. That's saying too much. I really like that book. But then I went into our highest rated book of our TBR, which is Miss Magnolia Parks, Into the Dark. You guys, I said it in our September TBR. I said if there was one book on our September TBR that I read, it's gonna be this one, I promise. Because I had been delaying reading this book just because I don't want Magnolia and BJ's story to end. But I am now on page 112. Whoop. I did stop in the middle of a BJ perspective. I just love this book. I also already have some quotes. This is a thick book. Also, there's like, I think over 700 pages in here. I feel it. The words are very small on the page, but Jessa Hastings' writing never ceases to amaze me. I love being in this world and with these characters. I thought I would read this so fast, but I've just been busy lately. And then I was like wondering myself, like, why am I not reading this like so fast? Because when I am reading it, it's like affecting me emotionally. So usually when that happens, I just want to keep reading it. And it's because it's a 700-page book. Like, it definitely, you feel the length at some points for me, and that's a lot coming from me because I love this series. You guys know this is like my absolute favorite series of all time, favorite romance series. But yes, it is a long book, but I feel like that's because it's the last book in Magnolia and BJ's perspective. So there was a lot of things that had to be wrapped up in a tight little bow in this book. So what we're really focusing on is sad right now in the start of the book. almost like over 100 pages in. It's just because if you know how the last book ended, Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, like in the Magnolia Parks universe, it was sad. Like that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the fallout, we're dealing with what happened afterwards, and I feel like that's why I'm also picking up or putting down this book a lot more frequently than I would normally for a Magnolia book, just because the topic is just sad. I have to be in the right mindset or else I'm gonna cry my eyes out. I am looking forward to reading this book. First impressions, still love Magnolia and BJ as a lot of our side characters, but there is still mysteries surrounding like other characters without saying too much, so I don't know what that was. We're gonna keep reading our highest rated book, Our Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. I do have like a lot of other videos on Magnolia Parks, and like I have a video of me reading every single one of the other 4 books, so I'll pop those up here if you're curious. We're gonna keep reading it and see what happens. Oh, also, I forgot to say, one thing in this book that was revealed early on, and BJ was being like a little bit cryptic about it, have to say, like, because Jessa Hastings added that in and it made me question things, I think that was so smart, because when I read the chapter about Magnolia and how she was questioning things because of that, it's like I get it. Like it was like her adding this thing in that made me question something BJ said, and then Magnolia questioning that same thing later. It was just so smart because it also puts the reader in like Magnolia's head and Magnolia's perspective even more than Jessa already does, and I love that about her writing. Hello everyone, so I am in the middle of chapter 36, page 282, so I am almost halfway through this massive brick of a book. I don't know how Jessa does it. Without fail, she writes the best, most amazing quote. I have already used up, I think, 2 full tabs. I'm on my 3rd one. I definitely, obviously, understand why it was our highest rated book on our September TBR, because it's just amazing. Bye, Luna. I don't quite remember what I said the last time I updated you. This first half of the book, of which I'm almost halfway through the whole book, is depressing. If you know what happened in Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, then you know why the perspective from Magnolia and BJ's point of view would be so depressing. And it's just like, again, like she writes the most amazing quotes that just reach inside my chest and squeeze my heart, and when that's paired with what these characters are going through right now, it's hard to read, but beautiful at the same time. Like, okay, let me just read you this one quote that I just underlined. I've done 1,000 questionable things because BJ Ballantyne winked at me and gave me a half smile, and my stomach dropped 3 stories inside my chest cavity. I hope he winks at me forever. And that's not, oh, that's a brick of a book and I just dropped it. But that's just an example of how amazing these quotes are and how many quotes I'm underlining. It is also, Magnolia is going through a particularly tricky mental health time at the moment because of what happened in the last book, and also there are a decent amount of trigger warnings in here. I can put a list of the trigger warnings here if you're curious, because there are a lot of trigger warnings. It's hard and it makes me feel so bad for Magnolia. BJ and her. This book is where we figure out if they really can get over all their past hurts that they've done to each other and be together. So, you know, they're going through a lot of trials and tribulations, and I'm not even halfway through the book, so I expect there's gonna be more. I'll do another check-in at when we get to the halfway point, which would be like around 350. I just love this book. I love this story so much. I love these characters so much. Also, we're getting a lot more of Magnolia's and BJ's parents in here, which is interesting. Hello, good morning everyone. I actually don't know how much longer I have on this memory card, so we're gonna try and make this update quick, but I did want to update you on Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. I have been reading basically all morning, a bunch more quotes that I've tagged, and I've gotten quite a bit of the way through. I'm on page 495. So much is happening that I feel like I should update you, but also the buildup of so many things that have happened in the past 4 books is all just coming to a head, and it's very interesting because I think I've mentioned that Magnolia is dealing with a lot of mental health issues, and one thing that she is dealing with in particular is a diagnosis that she's received, and it's so interesting to see how Jessa describes the diagnosis and describes her thought process and everything like that, like in Magnolia's mind, because I have the same diagnosis and it's just I've never felt so seen in my life in a book, and that is a really cool part of this where I'm like, as if I could love Magnolia Parks anymore. There's also been a lot of things that have been coming to the surface. You know how I said that their parents are a lot more prevalent in this book than they were in any of the past books? Well, that's an interesting take that Jessa has done, because I've realized a big part of this is also therapy, and it's BJ's been going to therapy. I feel like their parents are coming back up so much because it's like you're watching or you're reading the therapy process as it unfolds. When it's like, you know how a lot of therapists, when you go to therapy, they're like, go back to your childhood, go back to your parental relationships and your attachment styles and everything like that. I feel like that is why Jessa is exploring the parental relationships so much in this book, to just be like a representation of what the therapy that they're going through is doing and making them think, and revelations they're coming to. Also, something I wish I was recording, but I didn't. I had such a visceral reaction to one particular scene. If you know, they were at the willow tree. This tree right here that's actually in the background of this book. There were other people in the greenhouse in that tree, and something was said. My mouth dropped open and I was like, oh, no, he didn't. Oh, I got so mad and I was just so shocked that that could be said. Wild. So there are definitely a lot more revelations they're having than just what they thought about in the beginning throughout this book. That's why it's so large, but I'm just loving it. Oh my god, and also Julian. There is a scene with Julian in this. I'm gonna cry thinking about it because it made me cry when I was reading it last night, and I highlighted and underlined it. It's, oh my god. It made me excited for the next Daisy Hates book. I can't believe that scene happened. Oh my god. Also, this page, look at all these highlights and brackets that I've done on this page. You know when something starts with how many loves you get in a lifetime, you know that that is gonna be a bunch of amazing quotes about life and love, and it's gonna make you emotional. I'm still loving it, still obsessing over it, and I can't wait. I don't want it to end, but I also am very eager to keep reading it, so we'll see. The philosophical conversations that they have in this book are the most philosophical I've ever seen a romance book be. I can't. Hello friends, so I am editing our video right now, and I realized that I totally forgot to do an outro for this video, so here is our outro. I'm in my big cozy blanket, snuggie thing. In this video, we read our lowest rated book, which was The Coven, and our highest rated book, which was Magnolia Park's Into the Dark, and I loved both of them so much. Like, it's amazing. There's a motorcycle going by. It's amazing to me that The Coven is a low rated book because I really liked it. I ended up giving it a 4 stars, and Magnolia Park's is a 5, 6, 7 star. You already know every Magnolia Park's book is gonna be like an infinity stars for me. Into the Dark was no different. It was a long book and it dealt with a lot more heavier topics than the other Magnolia books have dealt with ever before. So definitely going into it, just know that, because it was definitely hard to read at sometimes. Her writing, Jessa Hastings' writing, her quotes, everything that I've been saying throughout this video is just still rings true. I still think about some of the quotes that are in this book, and another lawnmower. So we'll finish this up. Yes, that was me reading our highest and lowest rated books for our September TBR. I know this is coming in like literally November, so it's so late. I'm so sorry. I just got the chance to edit it fully, so it is a little bit delayed, but it's here finally. That is gonna be it from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.